我是可以。哦，对，我可以录。Okay, so I'll just wait until it is 9 o'clock and then we can start. Just to wait for a few people to come.
$25 students.
Tony，我发了一个 request，你看一下啊，你看一下这个功能。你现在收到有一个，
我没有收到任何东西。
没有吗？这是 ask your permission，你没有收到东西吗？
没有，现在我是在 recording 的，好像我可以
OK， 那就行了，那就算了。OK，
Claro.
Hello.
Claro. Hi.
Hello.
Are you? I rip the. Okay. 他要来。
Okay, 看看好像大概9点了。I think most people are here. Yeah. So just wait 2 more minutes.
Carl, Roll, drink water. Why? 陈一月，3的眼睛啊！
那不是真的眼镜，那是 Zoom 上有个 setting， 不是真的。
Okay. So I think I can start. 我觉得我可以开始了吧。对，我先介绍一下我。So to introduce myself, my name is Tony. I am in the United States currently. So it's yeah, and I have been learning programming for about 4 years, where I learned mostly by myself. So I make websites and also some mobile applications. So before we get started, I'm supposed to share the slides thing. So we're supported by the Global Youth Philanthropy, and so let's see, next slide. So this is a web design course, and basically GYP is a students-based nonprofit organization, and this class will be 30 minutes long each time, and there will be 8 times in total. And because this time there's a lot of students, we will offer a 20 minutes period right after this, so from 9:35 p.m. or a.m. at your time, so to 9:55, where you can ask whatever questions you want. all the students are encouraged to book our web design level 1 and level 2 to support the students' charity. So there will be additional classes that basically have, I guess, go into more detail about everything. Okay, so yeah, in these classes, the other ones that you can enroll if you want to, there will be smaller classes, and each class will have about 3 to 10 people, with the maximum being 10. So with a smaller class, we can interact a bit more, and it will be a bit better. It will also have a longer class time. Each class runs 60 minutes, and long-term support for each student will become a member of the GYP STEM club to receive self-study guide after the class. But yeah, and those classes will have a bit of a tuition, I think, and they will start in August or September. And the revenue will be used to support the second poor student support program and tutor rewards. So if yeah, that was just a bit of light, 就是讲了这个，然后yeah, I can just introduce myself a bit more. So I basically learned programming on my own, and today I'm going to show basically how you can make websites. And this is a web design class, but we are also going to show web development, because you can't really design a website without knowing how to make one. And the goal of this class is that by the end of it, you will be able to make your own website on your own. 所以说，对，
哎呦，
对，就是说我们这8节课，就是最后你应该可以弄得自己非常简单的一个网站。So to show you a website,
is it big now?
你说什么？就是刚才你
这是猫。
你要是有什么问题的话，一会儿可以问，然后想，但是我现在先那个，yeah. So 举个例，就是说你现在你可以跟着我现在，然后you can follow me and you can here you can open any web browser if you have a computer. You can open any one such as Safari or Firefox or Chrome, Google Chrome. You can also use Internet Explorer today, but I would recommend you install something else, but that's completely fine for now. To give an example of a website, you can type in my website on the top bar. So tonyzhang.net, TonyChang.net. You can go here, and this is my own website. I also just send the link here in the chat if you guys want to just click on it. This is
You have a YouTube video?
Yeah, why not? I have a YouTube channel that's programming, and you can look at it if you want. But just an introduction, like this is my website, and with the website you can do basically whatever you want. You can have a lot of other stuff. So, for example, these are the projects I made. On the top part, I basically have my YouTube videos, all of them here, and with I made some videos about making websites and everything, so you can also watch them if you want. And on the second header is this part is where I have made my own websites. So yeah, these are my other websites. The first one is the one that I made most recently, where you can basically study vocabulary cards and everything like that. There are also, if you scroll and open these websites, my website, so there are also a few other projects I made. So for example, you can just put your mouse here and click on it to go to that website. So this is a website I made for a competition with a few other people. And yeah, we won 3rd place on the competition. But what you can do is essentially, if you click here, you can sign in. I am signed in currently, so you don't need to do that. But basically, you can go to the projects. If you click the project there, and you can create a new project if you want. I'm not going to show you this exactly, but this is just an example of what websites can do, 对吧？我现在给你们说，就是有些举些例子，就是网站们可以干什么。And this is something I made. So if you click open the project before, you can have a project. You can have, I made a tool for basically graphing data. So you can enter something like
What
graph.
is that?
对，就是 yeah, it's basically a plotting tool. You can think of it like that. There are a lot of different types, such as bar graph. You can change it here, or there's pie chart.
Okay, next.
But essentially, what you can do is like that. Yeah. So 对我就是弄了一些这个网站，然后还有然后我们要是回到我原来这个网站，上面也有挺多别的，就比如说 this part I showcase all of my apps for phones and like computers, so I made a few of these. And if you go, yeah, when you go to my website, if you scroll down all the way, there's a simulations and visual. So here, there's some of the fun stuff that I made. 就比如说, yeah, if you click this part on the website, you can see that it is a simulation of all of the different circles bouncing around, which I coded by myself. So yeah, if you go here, so tonyjohn.net/experiments/circle physics, this is something that I also made. So this is pretty cool. And for my website, you can go back. I made it by clicking the title and it will go back. So yeah, this is just a simple example of some websites that I made. Now here's another website that you can't go to because I haven't deployed it, but I'm just going to open it up. This is something maybe kind of like what we will be able to make. So for example, this is a pepperoni pizza recipe website where I just made up, which showcases the different ingredients and the different things needed to make a pizza basically. And you can also enter a number if you want for the amount of, to calculate things. But this is just a very simple website. And this, let me just give you a few more examples of websites. There are a lot of, for example, there is this person that made a website. Basically, he is someone that does science. And if you go to this website, so aatishb.com, for example, this is something that they made. I'm just going to post this into the chat if you want to see it.
Okay, next.
Yeah, if you want to do that. And they have a lot of interactive videos. You can have this like interactive like 3D animations and simulations and everything. And you can also use the website to make articles and write, so wait, yeah. What?
This.
I cannot see what you're pointing at. But
This is the end video. The end video.
the which one?
The end video.
Yeah, 就是他们就比如 yeah, okay, fine. But basically, let's open something else. But basically, what I'm saying is that with websites, you can write a lot of different things, 对吧？你用网站，你可以干很多东西。If you switch back, for example, you can make news articles, or you can make games. 对吧？你可以做一个游戏，或者新闻，或者 blogs or essays. 你可以用网站。
是在那个酷狗里面吗？
那是什么？
可以是在酷狗里吗？
Google 是不是？
酷狗浏览器。
对 Google 吗？对 Google 不是。
浏览器。
对，在你用任何浏览器可以打开这网件，我一会儿再那个啥，但是我现在给你说的 ，yeah. And basically what I'm saying right now is essentially that 你可以用网站来干任何事情。然后我现在再多给你讲一下，就是网站是怎么回事。So basically how websites are made, and they're made essentially by, or like you can open them by typing something onto the typing a URL, and you can think of a URL kind of like an address. So kind of like an address on at your home, like a location. And the browser tries to find that address in a way that I'm not going to go over exactly now. But basically they can have a way of finding the address. And it's basically that address contains a bunch of files. So websites are in reality just some files, kind of like PDFs or images or Microsoft Word, but like in a different format. So yeah, they have different files. And the browser basically goes to this location and they downloads the files and opens it up. And that is essentially a website. And that's essentially what a website is. Yeah. So something that we can do, and maybe some of you did when you were, some of you tried, but not, yeah, some of you probably did this, but for browsers, you can open something called the Web Inspector. And this basically shows you the file that the websites are made out of. So for most browsers, you can right click or you can hold down the control key on your keyboard and click inspect. I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways of doing this. Or something you can do is use Control Shift C if you're on Windows or PC, and Command Shift C on Mac, which will open this. Same thing. I would recommend most people try and open this up if you want. If you are having trouble to do that, you can also ask me, just unmute. But yeah, this is for Chrome. For Firefox, I am just going to give you an example for Firefox if you're using that. Yeah, I'm going to screen share now and go to Firefox. Yeah, Firefox, you can also do it very similarly. What you do is right click and then inspect. And you can also open the same thing. So UI is slightly different, but it also does the same essential thing. And with Safari and Fire, the only thing is that if you have Safari, you have to, let me just show you Safari. Where is it? Yep, Safari. So
What is this?
it's just different web browsers. So if you open my website again in Safari, you can also press Command or Control Shift C, or you can right click inspect. But this doesn't show up by default. In Safari, you have to go to the menu bar, go to preferences. And after you open that, you can click advanced. And yeah, just to make it clear, you don't need to open all of the browsers. I'm just showing you in case you have different ones. And I'm fairly certain if you have anything like that's other browsers that are very similar to how Chrome works, and you can just right click and click inspect or Control Shift C, I believe. So I'm just going to go back to this. On the side, you obviously won't know what this is, and today, like gradually you'll understand what all of this means. But when you were younger, you might, or like at school, you sometimes said this maybe to edit the website to make it look funny or do something. And basically, if you use Control or Command Shift C and click somewhere or use this button, it shows you this. You could have clicked on this piece of text. And on this piece of text, you might have realized that you could have found some piece of text here. And you will realize that if you type the website on the here changes. So the reason that this, and because websites, I have said, are just a file, essentially, you can do whatever you want with it. And this isn't actually editing a website for everyone, because I have said when you're opening an address, it kind of downloads the file and opens it on your own computer. So
Teacher,
That's essentially how it works.
一个浏览器
对。
，Google
Okay, just to clarify, if in case you're asking, Google, right? Google or by search engines are not browsers. If you were to search something, if you were to search, I'm just gonna search Google on Google, why not? Or in this case, I'm using something else, but essentially what I'm saying is that when you search using a search engine, what it actually does is it generates links to other websites. So this is itself is actually a link which has a search. So everything's URLs. Google doesn't have, isn't a search engine. It's Google itself is a website that links to other websites.
What
But
teacher?
yeah, so I hope you have a little bit of understanding of this. So let me just use the inspector a bit more. So if you were to click this button, which is on the side on top for most browsers, or if as I have said, Control-Shift-C on the keyboard, it can bring up this hover thingy. And if you click here, it will show you, it will highlight some of the appropriate element on the right side. You don't need to know what any of this means, but you might be able to find the text somewhere. And if you double click on it, you can edit. So if you can say, hello, people. And if you press enter, it will change the text on the website. And what you see here is actually how websites are coded. So everything you see here is essentially, it's not coded like here on the browser, but this is what a website actually looks like when you store it as a file. So you might notice, one thing that you might notice is that there are a lot of brackets, and these brackets basically are things that contain data, and they're here. Okay. Before I continue, let's just check the chat. Right. So someone said Command-Shift-C on Mac. It doesn't work. Yeah, it should, but if you're using Safari, as I have said, you might need to open the preferences and enable the develop menu. So the other ones should work. If you could tell me the browser, Lioku, you could, or you can unmute. But let's just try for the rest of the class to let everyone try to open the inspector. The chat for some reason isn't scrolling correctly. I can't read the chat. Okay. Someone asked, do you need to use Safari? Can you use another browser? You don't need to use Safari. So the point is that any browser should work fine for now. Basically, Safari isn't actually that good. You can use any browser you want. The most used is Google Chrome. You can open it like that. I'm just demonstrating every single browser that someone might have because they all work. Okay, Leo, I'm just going to show you Safari again. Let me just find Safari is here. Okay. So on Safari, if you have a tab, let me just open my own website, for example. And I think I need to share my entire desktop because the preferences screen isn't showing up. So I'm just going to share desktop. Great. So this is the Safari website. Can you guys see the preferences? This is only for people that are using Safari, but if you show the preferences, click advanced. On the bottom right here, it shows the develop menu and menu bar. And this means that if you go to here, there's a new develop option where you can say show web inspector with Alt Command I, or you can also just do Shift Command C like I have said before. Did that work for you? But so if I know some of you might think this is too simple, but I am just showing you for like some of the younger people here what a website is. And essentially a website is something that you open. But yeah, so you can go to the URL here to just see my website. But if you don't want to, you can open any website at all. You can just go to google.com and use the inspector there. So Shift Command C also. And you can see that Google and all other websites are built with essentially something that looks pretty similar. And the next class, we're going to go into more detail of how you can write something like this and how websites work. Richard, what is the command button? It is on Mac, but I'm currently just showing you how people for a certain web browser called Safari. If you can't find that, don't worry about it. If you can open Chrome. So this browser is basically Chrome. And what you do is you can just say right click, inspect, and that's it, I believe. Or you can do Control Shift C, I believe on Windows. I think. So you can just do that if you don't have command. Just ignore that. So yeah, so what I'm showing you is just for trying to get everyone to open the inspector. Yeah, you can find my website on any browser. So just like google.com or Baidu or anything, right? You can open all websites on most browsers and they will all work. So yeah, that's basically it. And should we get started on a little bit of how websites work? So as I have said, website basically, okay, sorry, I'm going to upgrade to Zoom something. But what I'm saying is that websites are files. They have a lot of different files for different things, but one of them is called HTML. And HTML is essentially something that says what goes where. It's like a format, kind of like PDF. You can think of it like PDF for Microsoft Word, but it's a bit different. So you can basically write the text. And so it's a file that you can create. And as I have said, a website is it's not the internet, right? Internet is something you can get data from and you can communicate with other people. But basically it downloads something kind of like a file from the internet. I'm oversimplifying, but it basically downloads files from the internet and then automatically opens it up, and that's all done automatically by your browser. But this means that because it's just a file, you can also just create files on your computer and you can open it up on your own. So you don't need to do any sort of like website hosting or anything. And for the beginning few classes, we'll just be doing that. And we'll be showing you how you can make a file on your computer and get your browser to open that so you have your own personal website. Yeah. Okay, so for the last 5 minutes, if anyone has questions, you can just put it in the chat, or you can just unmute and talk. Or is there any thoughts about maybe you didn't understand anything? Okay, so would you teach us how to use these commands? Yeah, so I'm not quite sure what you mean by commands, but I mean, the right clicking to open the inspector or the Control Shift C or Command Shift C thing to open the inspector isn't too hard. I'm assuming what you mean is like how to code this. Yes, I will next class. It's just that I'm just going to say like what websites basically are. That's for today, because just to give you guys a basic understanding of it. Yes. Yep. So for this class, for this course, I guess, which is 8 classes, it will all be completely free. Next class will be the same time, but next week. So yeah, it will be next week.
Teacher, that wave looking.
Yeah. Okay.
Looking wave.
Yes.
你要是想的话，你也可以用中文说，我也会说中文。你要是用英文，
这个时间就是 Q&A。
所以我妈妈想问一个东西。
好，可以问啊。对，
你举手吗？还是
你举手没说啊？
谁？
也就是说，How do you create your own website？
对，就是今天我只是给你们说了一下大概是怎么，对吧？网站是什么东西。明天不是明天，下个礼拜我就会告诉你真的是怎么弄的，然后我们就可以弄一些非常我就会弄得非常简单，就是你可以写你的名字，然后写下介绍你是干什么的，或者说你要是不想弄一个 website 讲你自己，你也可以讲任何东西，你可以说讲一个故事在上面，或者你可以说一个怎么做一个东西，或者讲一个新闻什么东西发生了，你都可以在上面写，对吧？因为网站你可以干任何东西，就只是可以写字儿，那些字儿可以是任何东西。我下个礼拜就可以。我们就再更多的那么说，someone 对
wave video
还有什么？
啊不是，你再说一下
wave videos no
对someone else asked how do you get the highlight thing, right? The thing that can highlight some of the things are here. So I believe for a lot of browsers you can click this button that looks like a highlight, or for Safari I believe it's this thing that looks like a selection, whatever they're called. It's like this. And where's Firefox? Firefox. Here you go. Right. Firefox is the same thing as arrow, or you can use Command Shift T or Control Shift. Wait, I'm just gonna check if that's actually it because I'm assuming that's what it is in Windows but let me just check.
怎么有这两个？
Command pick element web inspector short.
teacher
Albert,
Tony Zhang
yeah.
Tony Zhang 软件
你说是哪个软件？
Tony Zhang 网件
对，网站，对，那是我的。
是我弄出来哎，
你打不开吗？
弄不出来。
你是有个浏览器对吧？就是说，你知道吧？就是你可以搜索东西的这个地方。你要是说写同一张我的名字，然后后面加个点儿，然后是个 net， 你就应该能出来。
后面那个什么
Tony， 你能看见这个我的屏幕对吧 ？Tony 张 TonyZhang 点 net。
Tony Zhang net
对，你可以打开。对，我好像说错了，我刚才我还以为就是 Ctrl， 但是好像是 Windows， 看是这些，对 ，Ctrl Shift C 是打开那 Inspector Element Mode，Ctrl Shift J 是那个方测阵。你可以是说就直接说 Ctrl Shift I 也行，然后 Command Alt I 在 Mac 上面都行，对吧？你看这个网站上是讲那些 shortcut。Yeah.
Tony Zhang net is it
Wait. My brother's here. Sorry, but yeah. 对，你打开了吗？
还没有呢。
是怎么回事？是网络慢了，还是说他就找不到，还是什么原因？
Tony Zhang
对，等一下，我现在。好，我们
Yes, I have.
Wait. So I have a 20-minute Q&A session after class, but Zoom has a limit where it only allows 40 minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is end the class and then restart it. So all of you will have to leave, but then you can just click on the Zoom link again to rejoin. If you have any questions, so Albert, you can. So now the class has to close because there's a time limit. So we can. I'm just gonna start the class again immediately, and you can click on the Zoom thing，对吧？就这个 Zoom 就很快就关了，但是我可以，但我就重新开始一遍，然后你们重新重新登录一次就可以。好，明白。对，所以说你们，对我现在先结束 meeting 了，但是你们有问题的也可以，我就会继续再讲一讲和回答。